Good day, friends. Myself, Dr. Kranti Chandan Jaikar, ex and first head of the Department of Skin and Beauty, Indira Gandhi Institute of Medical Sciences, Shekhpura, Patna, Bihar, India. Although I am a skin specialist, but in my practice, what I practice is a process, is a technique that is known as holistic health approach. I used to treat all diseases by the changing the dietary and bodily activity of the patient. So I used to see every diseases in a holistic way, because I consider that any disease cannot come alone. It is along with many other diseases, because disease is a process and it is not an event. So considering my holistic approach, what I have developed during my tenure as HOD in this prestigious institute of Bihar, after seeing not less than 1 lakh of cases and curing all of them through the dietary modification. What I have been helped by one of the important things, that is yoga, and I have mixed some yoga principles in my treatment, so that I have achieved a lot of positive effect due to this. Friends, today is World Yoga Day, 21st of June. So I will talk on this, what is Yoga Day and what is yoga, and I will try to explain you how it is beneficial in day-to-day medical science or in day-to-day patient's well-being, that I will deal. Although I have written one of my poem in Hindi on yoga, which already you can see in my YouTube channel, Dr. Kranti Chandan Jaikar, and many posts I have written even today, but that post is in Hindi. So considering the universal appeal of the English language, I wanted to convey that convey my point on yoga in English language. So I am making this video. Hope it will enlighten you in some different way. What I have learned, I will like to also convey to you. So the word yoga means to join. Join body with mind, join this body, mind and soul, and also to join man with the God. So this is joining of the Atma and Paramatma, शरीर एवं मन का जुड़ना, योग. This is yoga. And since when it is being celebrated, although yoga has its inceptions long ago, it has been proposed and it has been believed that Adi Yogi is basically Lord Shiva, which around 15,000 years ago in Himalayas they have trained Sapt Rishis, and they have trained different rishis, and that rishis had gone to different areas and propagated this knowledge. And this was the he was the first guru on the earth. This is normally believed in Indian mythology, that is Shiva is the Adi Guru, and he has teached the yoga philosophy. So but the process of celebrating Yoga Day started very late by the initiative of our great Prime Minister of India, that is Narendra Modi ji, and he has given one lecture and a speech in United Nations General Assembly in the month of September, 27 September 2014, and in that they have appealed to the universal audience and universal countries to start World Yoga Day and to decide and to get united in this resolution. They have proposed resolution, and around 177 countries have supported this resolution, and in 11th December 2014 Mr. Ashok Mukherjee has put it in the floor of the United Nations General Assembly, and 177 majority vote this resolution is passed, and the world has decided to propose and to start making yoga day to be fixed on a particular day, that is 21 June. So it is started being celebrated since 21st June 2015. So it is now you can imagine that it is almost 7th yoga day preparation we are already having arranging. And the first yoga day which is held in 2015, you can imagine that out of around 84 countries, different officials were present in the first gathering, which has attracted not less than more than 35,000 people. They have gathered and done yoga at a particular place in the Delhi, and that was the mega event, and very few events have ever happened in the world like this, practicing so much people yoga at a particular time, at a particular place. So that was the historical event, and this promulgation and this acceptance of World Yoga Day universally definitely has given India a boost that this yoga is originated from India, and so this strengthened the claim of the Indian people that yoga is their own identity, and definitely it has given a good name in all the other people on this earth planet, that we are the people who have initiated yoga. So this was the brief history that you should know, that since 2015 it is being celebrated. And why the 21st June is being chosen? Because it is the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere, and in the contemporary, and what will happen, it is the shortest day in the southern hemisphere, but majority of the mankind reside in northern hemisphere, so it is quite obvious that the longest day of the majority of the people on this earth is 21st of June. So it is being chosen, and on this date the earth, the solar, the sun goes in the Dakshinayan this travel. So this is the summer solstice start, and transition to Dakshinayan occurs of this sun. And you can also know that why it is related to Adi Yogi. One of the also example is that in India we celebrate Guru Purnima, and the Guru Purnima is the date is second full moon of after the solstice, summer solstice, and this is celebrated as Guru Purnima because on this day only the Lord Shiva has Adi Yogi Shiva has given knowledge of yoga to the Saptarishis. So, and around 35,985 people have gathered on 21st August for 35 minutes they have done yoga and 10 asanas. Although when the matter was put in the United Nations General Assembly to celebrate the World Yoga Day, there were many objections that has been given by different other religions, because they considered it is a thing of Hindu religion. Although I will explain in this video that it is not related to any religion. Basically it is not also related only to the asanas, but it is basically a way of living, how anybody live in this world, so that he always have their in consciousness that he or she is directly related to the God, directly related to the super consciousness. So this is the thing. It is not about a single religion, it is not about only the asanas, it is basically much more than that, and it is basically a lifestyle that anybody can acquire, and get the benefit, anybody, and this should be available to any each and every individuals of this on this planet. This should be the main motto. So the objection was from the Muslims community about the Surya Namaskara, and this Surya Namaskara, because they consider moon as their deity, so they have objection in considering doing sun upasana. So they have objected in Surya Namaskara, and this has been removed from the this main thing resolutions, and some of the objections also came from the Catholic Christians also, but majority of Protestants supported this, and ultimately 177 countries have supported this resolution, and World Yoga Day is started being celebrated. Now we will know some more thing about yoga and how it is good for the well-being of anybody, and anybody know that diseases are many but health is single. Diseases are many but health is single. So if anybody can show you the center point of health, that then if you see the central light of health from any directions that you have diverted from the health, you can regain your health, and you can reback to the original central position of the health by changing your diet and lifestyle. So this is the way of basically leading a life. Yoga is a complete lifestyle, not more than that. So if you acquire that, it is nothing related to any religion, first of all. Another point is that yoga is being practiced since 15,000 years ago, and later on being revised by different times yogis, and nowadays the shape that you are seeing yoga is basically the mixture of all that. Now you can see that since 15,000 years Adi Yogi started, but since 5,000 years ago this Lord Krishna has preached in the Bhagavad Gita, and they have also given the different yoga, like karma yoga, like this bhakti yoga, and this dhyan yoga. So karma, dhyan and bhakti yoga they have preached. Gyan yoga, karma, gyan and bhakti yoga they have preached by the Lord Krishna, and thereafter many of the people came and suggested some ways, but the contemporary, the main yoga that is being mostly accepted is the basically Patanjali's yoga Ashtangik Marg. They have given 8 routes, 8 ways marg by which anybody can do the yoga practices, and this is the whole thing, that if you learn the Patanjali Ashtangik yoga, then you will definitely become yogi. So what is the Ashtangik Marg, that I will discuss in this. So if you can know the Ashtangik Marg and you can practice it in your life, you can become a yogi, and you can achieve the salvation and different ultimate pleasure, ultimate bliss in this life. You can just along with, you can just be with the God, just be with the super consciousness. Now what are these Ashtangik Marg? So Patanjali Muni have preached, because in today's era, if you ask somebody that what is yoga, he or she will tell you that only 3 things is yoga. One is asana, another is this pranayam, another is dhyan. So meditation and this respiratory exercise, and this asanas, postural exercise. So this is the 3 things that they will tell you, that this is the yoga, and you will miss guide by knowing this short form of yoga. This is not yoga preached by the Patanjali Muni, and I will be sorry enough to say that many of our famous yogi is basically making the the whole people foolish by by considering that this is basically, this is incomplete yoga. The complete yoga that you should know, the what Patanjali Muni has given, preached, and that is the 8-prong approach. One is, and this 8-prong approach is not only with the doing with the physical labor, it is for the how you behave in your with your environment and with your in the society, in your family, how you will behave. It teaches everything. That is yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. But this is in Hindi, Sanskrit. What is meaning in English? Yam means external disciplines, maintaining external discipline, and there are 5 yams. And what are the 5 yams? Yam is ahimsa, satya, astay, aparigraha or brahmacharya. And what does means by ahimsa? Ahimsa means non-harming to anybody else. Other creature we will not harm. But the word ahimsa doesn't mean that I am doing harm to anybody, because you cannot harm anybody, because only you can harm the bodily structure, but you cannot harm the soul. Soul is indivisible. As told in Bhagavad Gita, Atma amar hai, the soul is immortal. So basically, what is meant by ahimsa is, if I acquire some of our intention, if I grow some of the intention to harm anybody, that is ahimsa. If I think that I should harm anybody in any way, even if I have not harmed practically, but thinking itself makes me a culprit of ahimsa. So even not think to harm anybody, that is the ultimate ahimsa vrat, and that is the ultimate non-harming or non-violence, this vrat you can say. So this is ahimsa. You have to follow throughout your life. Do not harm in any, give any physical, moral, mental, social. You should not harm anybody. Any creature of this world should not be harmed. So this you should practice in your daily life. This is yam, ahimsa. And another reason, satya. So always tell the truth. That is the satya. Astay means non-stealing anything of anybody else. Please do not steal anybody else. You acquire in some moral way. Do not do immoral thing while acquiring property, food, fiber, anything. Please do not steal anybody else's property. So this is astay, and you should practice in your life. And another one is aparigraha. That is non-attachment. That is non storage of anything. You should not store it. You take from the nature as much you need and as much you do, but you should not store for your future use. You should just take as much that is you needed for your day-to-day life. You should not store any money or store any extra calorie. If my body expenditure only 2000 calorie, I should not take 3000 calorie or 4000 calorie, because it will definitely going to harm our system. So this is aparigraha. You should follow it. And the 5th one is brahmacharya. And what is meaning by brahmacharya? It is moderation. Brahmacharya means the way God lives, the way Brahm lives, we should acquire that habit. That is brahmacharya. Brahm ki charya, the habit of the God, the habit of the super consciousness, we should acquire. If we want to become same as super consciousness, we should behave in the same manner. That is brahmacharya. So it is basically moderation. It is not like we do not do sex. No. Brahmacharya means sex is a part and parcel of life. You should do in a moderation. In moderation means you should do with your legal wife, and in a particular part of your life. There are 4 ashrams in Hindu mythology. One is Brahmacharya ashram. From 0 to 25 years of age is known as Brahmacharya ashram, in which you should maintain the do not do sex with opposite partner. This is, and not only do sex but also do not think about sex. This is 0 to 25 years. Thereafter comes this Grihastha ashram, in which from 25 to 50 years you have to indulge in sexual activities with your moral wife and after marriage, and you do sex for your future generation to get get birth, and you leave your mark after leaving this planet. So you have some progeny. It is very essential, because you cannot get rid of your debt without creating creature over this earth. You have to make your own creature. So this is sex is one of the part of that. So if you are doing sex with your legal wife, and that for this time of 25 to 50 years, and with your legal wife, that is brahmacharya. It is not overindulgence, and it is also not unindulgence. That is also madness. You should not do like cutting the penis and wandering to Himalayas. This is not like that. This is doing in the moderation, not doing excess, not doing less. So you should remain in moderation. That is the brahmacharya. And after 50 years, you should follow the Banprastha ashram. That is, you should slowly stop doing sex even with your wife also. And it means that your relation gets matured, and now you can overcome the body-body relation. Now you have mind-mind relation, and after that stage you have got soul-soul relation. So the love has 3 aspects. One is bodily love, that is the Kam Bhavana, that is the sex. And after that love is matured, then bodily love changes into mindly love. Then we love someone else thought. That is the thing that we acquire after maturity. And thereafter comes the soul as to soul interaction, in which we get pleasure with the orgasm with the super consciousness. This is the super consciousness, that is the Paramatma, and we used to do copulation with the super consciousness. That is the ultimate sex. And you have heard the one of the texts written by Osho Rajneesh, one of the famous gurus of India have ever produced, that is Osho Rajneesh, and he have written one of the book, that is Sambhog Se Samadhi Tak, from this copulation to the final containment. And that is the book that has attracted many criticism, particularly by those people who doesn't understand what he wanted to say. Without reading that book, many of the fellows started naming him a sex guru. So this was a wrong preposition, because he was telling a thing that was very deep meaning, that has very deep meaning, but people doesn't basically taken it, because whatever your mind doesn't know and doesn't experience, definitely even the same word can give you different meaning. So that was the thing. So the meaning of brahmacharya is doing everything at a particular moment of time, because after 50 to 25 75 years, after doing so much sexual pleasures and indriya sukh, now you have you have acquired knowledge that these are doesn't give you pleasure, that is ultimate pleasure. So now you can know that it is not very good thing. Good thing means it is very cheap thing, that now you have acquired experience that it is very cheap thing. And so you started searching ultimate pleasure, and that the ultimate pleasure, that is moksha, is by the milan with, by the this yoga with the super consciousness, that is the samadhi stage. So So for doing attaining the final aim of yoga is that is the samadhi. You have to go through different routes, different steps. It is not like that just you start doing the this postural portion, that is asana, and you become yogi. No. This is not. And so you have to follow the steps, and the first step is yam, that is external discipline, and in external discipline, that is ahimsa, satya, astaya, aparigraha, and brahmacharya. So the English meaning of this is non-harming to anybody, this non-violence, this truth-telling, and this non-stealing of anybody's else properties, and this non-attachment with outside world, and non-storage of outside thing, and living a life in moderation. So that is the brahmacharya. So this is the yam. Another one is, after that you have done the yam, you have now you have started fulfilling the yam in your daily to day life, then proceed to another one, that is the niyam. Niyam means internal disciplines. And internal disciplines, there are also 5. And what are internal disciplines? These are the Sauch, Santosh, Tap, Swadhyay, and Iswar Pranidhan. What is the English meaning of it? Sauch means cleanliness. To maintain cleanliness, you just maintain hygiene and cleanliness. That is the thing. And Santosh, that is containment. Whatever thing that you have, you should be contained in that. So this is thing. And you should always thank the God, that God, you have given me another day. Every morning you should pray to God and ask Him that you should thank Him without having any desire out of that. You should thank God, that God, you have given me today's morning, and if you wanted, I could have been burnt tomorrow itself, but you have given me yesterday itself, but you have given me today's this sunshine. You have shown me today's sunshine, so I must oblige to you. This is the thing that is known as santosh, containment. Whatever you have, you should be in containment stage. Another one is tap, zeal for life, jijibisa. You should have full faith in life, and you should know that what is the purpose of life. The purpose of life is just to live. There should not be any purpose of life, because you should know that even the people who have attained many wealth, still they are doing day-to-day activity, 24-hour work they are doing. So what for that? Because the ultimate purpose of life is to live a life. That is the thing. That is no. Life itself is a target, and itself is a way. ये साध्य और साधन दोनों है. जिंदगी क्या है? साध्य और साधन दोनों. So life is basically a way and also the target we want to achieve in our life. So life is that. So we should have containment, and we should have zeal for life. Tap, always zeal for life. And so you should not stay away from life. You should always have a zeal for life, zeal to live. And another, after that comes swadhyay, that is self-study. So you should always think, don't do anything like doing memorizing anything, like, no. You should have any knowledge, any information that you get, you should first pass through your experience, and thereafter whatever knowledge that you will acquire, that is the perfect thing. Because even if you hear from anybody anything, please doesn't accept it blindly. First you take it and experience it through your experience, and then if you find useful it useful, then you can do around then you can think that it is your knowledge, that is your knowledge. So you should have enough consciousness to differentiate between information and knowledge. So there are basic difference between information and knowledge. In today's world, everybody is full of information. This is the information technology era, but very few people have got knowledge of their own. self knowledge. That is the ultimate knowledge. Self knowledge. Without having self knowledge, you cannot be removed from your sufferings. So you will always have sufferings if you are not knowing who you are. So this is the basic knowledge. Who I am the part of this whole super consciousness. I am just a bit part. How much unlimited universe is, and in that unlimited universe, our solar system is only a part of that, and in this solar system our earth is a still smallest part, and on this smallest earth you can know what is I am, what should be I. This is I is illness. So you should not have any ego around of yourself. Ego means you should not have any ahankar of I am something, I am this, I am that. No, you should not have that. So, and this is not only sayings, but you should also acquire in your behavior, day-to-day behavior. So when you attain like that, then only you can practice it. So this is the thing that this is being told in Niyam portion, that is internal discipline in the Swara self-study. So you do your own self-study, Science told that here is corona, here is corona, here is corona, everything. But you should know that it is simple cough and cold, So, but this is for your information. But you don't get outside and you ask everybody to believe as you believe. No, this is not. You just know what is the truth, and when you know the truth, it is not needed to make this advertisement of it. It is not needed. Otherwise, it is not truth. So you should have Iswar Pranidham, that is the surrender to God. So you have learned that before, even in Muslims community, they say Inshallah. What does it mean? Inshallah. It means that if you consider, then only this work will happen, otherwise not. So if you are doing any work, you say that before and after, you say that, oh God, if you want, then only this can happen. I am nobody in doing this. Everything is done by you. So I am not having any this karta bodh. You should not have any karta bodh on you. So it will burden you with sufferings. So you should do everything in the name of God, and not only naming but also experiencing that you are doing nothing. So if you experience like that, then definitely you will not get anxious after having much tragedy, and you will not become very much happy even after having your getting lottery ticket to be prized. Even after that, you will not become super happy, and you will not become super sad. So you should be in the middle, sthir pragya, as told by Lord Krishna. You should be like a mirror. A mirror doesn't become super happy after seeing a super beauty. No. And a mirror doesn't become sad after seeing a black beauty. No. You should behave like a mirror. A mirror doesn't react whether a super beautiful woman sees in them, or in front of them, comes in front of them, or ugly women come in front of them. A mirror doesn't take care of this. Mirror doesn't take notice of this. So behave like a mirror in this world. Behave like a mirror. Even if somebody has called you, please doesn't react to it. It is just you ask him that if you want to scold me, you can scold me further, because I am not going to take it. And without me taking your scold, you cannot give me. forcibly. Anybody cannot give you forcibly of his property to you if you don't accept it. So if somebody is scolding you and you are not taking here abuses, their abuses, he will not able to give you. So as simple as that. So that is your, always should always remember God while doing everything, and you should just become a nimit. You should just become a nipit, not more than that. You should just become a Kathputli in the hand of God. Everything is done by God, and whatever thing you do, you just do that God is doing. God has asked me to do like that. So, and whatever success that you have attained, you also name it in the name of the God. That God has done, I have done nothing. In the collective unconsciousness of our whole mankind, there is a same God, that is the अब चेतन में परमात्मा. तो वो in collective unconsciousness में we all mankind is the same. We all this living being in the same. We all this jad is the same. That is the thing that you should acquire in your day-to-day behavior. So that is trained by niyam. So summarizing it, yam. First one is yam, that is external discipline. Follow ahimsa, satya, astaya, aparigraha and brahmacharya. And thereafter internal discipline, that is cleanliness, containment, zeal for life, self-study and surrender to God. Thereafter the third step is asana, and asana is postures, that is the meditation sitting. This is the asana, and by posture you means that you in a normal day-to-day life you doesn't able to make utilize all of your muscles. There are many muscles in your body which remains inactive throughout your daily work. So the purpose of yoga is to make active everything. Suppose you have got 100 servants, and at a particular moment of time only 10 people works and rest 90 take rest. So what will happen? If you continuously engage only 10 people and not engage the rest 90 people, what will happen? The rest 90 people will become diseased, become unuseful for the future. So you should plan your work in such a manner that you can utilize all of your 100 servants. So in the same manner you can consider that there are many inactive muscles. Suppose I am sitting like this and continuously sitting like this and making this video and seeing the patient in OPD, but the same posture I am from hours, and there are many postures that we generally do not use, that like that, this posture, this posture, this posture, and this posture, and many postures which normally we doesn't acquire in our day-to-day life. So what will happen? The opposite muscle will get one muscle gets fatigued by working overuse, and another antagonistic muscle gets disused atrophy because we have not used. So those things which you do not practice it, generally in the long run of life your body become vestigial organ and vestigial things like that. So the yoga is to give the prana shakti to each and every cells of your body. This is the yoga. So by doing asanas, by doing different asanas, you basically propagate the prana shakti to each and every cells of your body. This is the meaning of the yoga, different asanas. And in the Hatha Yoga there are basically Sat Karma, which I will deal after clearing all this Ashtangic Marg, in which they are practiced to the extreme, and even the involuntary muscles inside your body. There are two types of muscles. One is voluntary, another is involuntary. There are some muscles inside your body which doesn't take command from your brain. They are continuously doing their job without asking from your conscious mind, that like a heartbeat. So heart is beating continuously. That doesn't ask your brain whether to start or stop. No. So this is the involuntary muscles. But the Hatha yogi acquire enough power to even control the involuntary muscles of the body. That is the Hatha yoga. So that is the extreme form of yoga, which I will deal in another lecture, or in the same video that I will I am making. So up till now that you have known that what is yama, what is niyama, and that is external discipline, internal disciplines, and thereafter asanas, different asanas. And you should not you do anything that you can know, anything that you can know. It is not that only that this prototype or signature brand or signature posture like that. No. You do as much your convenience, like that. So like touching your feet without folding your knees and like that. So this is the different asanas, like doing this and this. So everything that you can do, so that unused norm in a day-to-day life, which muscle you do not use, that also gets command to be in action. So this is the purpose of doing this asanas. So but what is happening in today's era? Everybody is just become mad in running like a mad, like rat run, like in the form doing asanas like that. But they are mistaken, because they have they doesn't consider yam niyam, which is an important part. Without doing yam niyam, you cannot jump to the asanas, and if you jump, then the whole yoga will be a futile exercise for you, not more than that. So if suppose you have taken excess calorie from years, and your body mass index has got increased, then first you should remove your excess calorie. So that is aparigraha. So you should not store it, because in our tradition Ann is said to be a god, Anna Devata. In Hindu mythology, in Sanatan Dharma, it is being called Devata. So we people used to see God in each and everything that we practice. So if you should not store the Anna inside your system, because otherwise it will definitely going to do harm, because energy cannot be destroyed, energy can be modified. So if your daily requirement is only 2000 calorie, and you will take 4000 calorie daily, and you will not do justice with the different components of your food, like carbohydrate, protein, fat, fiber, you should only take carbohydrate. So that will make the excess calorie bit gets deposited inside your body, either in the form of fat, making your body obese and attracting different disease, metabolic syndromes, and it will also accumulate inflammatory cytokines inside your body, autoantibodies inside your body, leading to all types of inflammations, and it will also dissipate the free sugars here and there, attracting different infections inside your body. So this is not good thing. So if you have got body mass index more than 25, and you are obese and you are having different disease, so before doing asanas, you should decrease, you should remove the excess calorie that you have put it inside your body since years. So first you should have removed that. So after doing lot of weight loss and after changing your diet, then only you do asanas. This is the purpose of Patanjali Muni yogas. So you do a step by step thing. First do practice this yama, then niyama, and then asanas, and thereafter come pranayama. And pranayama is three things. One is purak, kumbhak, and rechak. What is purak? Full inspiration, taking full inspiration, and thereafter maintaining full inspiration for a while, and thereafter maintaining, taking full inspiration and maintaining, and thereafter exhaling, full exhaling, and this full exhaling expiration, that is known as rechak. So purak, kumbhak, rechak, purak, kumbhak or rechak, purak, kumbhak or rechak. So this is the intake, storage, and this expiration. So this is the pranayama you should do. What will happen? Normally you have got around 40 crores of this alveoli, air sac inside your lung, both lung, and only 20-30% alveoli is active, so rest is inactive. So what will happen? If you do pranayama, every portion of your lung become filled with oxygen, oxygenated air, making all the negativity and the negative gases to be exhaled out. So this is the thing that you are basically inculcating prana in the different areas of your body. This is the yoga. So you normally what is happening? You have bordered yourself from the rest of the thing, but yoga is to cutting the borders, and mixed with the rest of the Brahmand. This is the yoga, rest of the universe. This is the yoga. And so this is pranayama that you have known. And another one is, after that, is pratyahara. Pratyahara is turning inward, turning all your senses to inward. Eyes sees outside, so please don't see outside, just close your eyes and sees your inside. So that is the thing. All your five senses, your tongue, ask him to feel the internal things, take the internal test of internal things, like your ears, ask him to hear the internal sounds of your body. So you ask every of your senses to not go for outside to senses any outside stimuli, but to sense the inner side stimuli. So that is the pratyahara, and it is the one of the basic step to a start meditation. That is the basic thing. So first you have to change your lifestyle and doesn't see pleasure in outside world. You do things, but you don't become habituated to it. Anything that you are doing, don't become habituated. Neither attraction nor detraction. So you should have in moderation. That is the meaning. So you should not distract from anything, not attract from towards anything. So this is the meaning. You should remain in the middle path, Majjhim Marg, as told by Lord Buddha in Buddhist philosophy. So this is the pratyahara, that is turning all your senses to the inner side and asking him to hear inside, to see inside, to test inside, to feel inside, like that. So asking every your senses to feel inside, that is the pratyahara. And after that comes dharana, that is the concentration. So you should now start focusing on a particular goal, particular thing, and starting practicing it. That is the dharana. So this is the concentration. So your mind will wander here and there, do like this, like this, like this, like this. And what is the, you should know that people used to go to temples and mosques and churches. Do you know what is the purpose of these all temple and mosque and this every pilgrimage places like that? What is the purpose? Because it is for the concentration, to gain a concentration. Because while you are inside the temple or inside your mosque, every other thing, every other your conscious mind which is wandering here and there gets concentrated towards a particular side, that is the Allah or your God or your this any sculpture or like that. So what will happen? This is the start of the dhyana. Before dhyana it is dharana, concentration, and before concentration it is pratyahara, turning inward all your senses, and this is dharana, that is concentration. You acquire concentration, है ना? to a particular work. Suppose I am seeing the patient, so I am concentrating only on the patient. In that time, there is no any other thing that comes in our mind, that we should do this, we should that. No, while treating, I am only treating. I am doing nothing else. So this is the concentration. So you do everything in concentration. That is the yoga. That is itself yoga. So if you are doing your work in a full concentration, it means you are in a yoga. You are doing yoga. So it is not on that yoga. You just sit in a field and you just fold any cloth over the land and you practice it. No, it is not like that. It is not like that. Wherever you are, you can start practicing yoga, because these are the behavioral things that you should do. And this is not that it is go to a guru and start. This is self-study. You can learn. And so this is the dharana, that is the concentration. And thereafter comes the dhyana, that is the meditation. And in meditation, what will happen? You even lose the concentration that you are concentrating on a particular point. So if you dwell in the work in such a deeply that even the thought of concentrating at any particular place, that also thought goes outside, and that also evaporates. Then what will happen? You lose all yourself, all your external, you disconnect yourself from everything other than you. So this is the ultimate meditation stage. But if you are seeing somebody who is tutoring, or who is applying, doing some yoga and posting it, the photograph, that is not meditation. Because if you are thinking that anybody sees my photo of doing yoga, it means you want some likes or some praise from anybody else. This is the thing that yoga doesn't preaches. Yoga doesn't preaches that you gain popularity and you gain money out of this giving knowledge to anybody, or you showing anybody that I am yogi, like that. The pure yogi will not let you see when he or she is meditating. He will not let you see. He will do in very personal moment. So this should be a litmus test that you can do to any body to know that whether he is yogi or only basically being depicted as yogi. So you can also do the litmus test over that. So if you are in pure meditation, at least you will not ask to make a film this. Because even if you in super conscious mind, if you are thinking that you should be filmed while you are doing dhyana, it means you are not in a dhyana stage. Because if you are in a dhyana, then even that dhyan is also gone of doing the dhyan. So if you want to do dhyana, it is not possible by anybody that he or she can plan a dhyana. Dhyan cannot be planned. Meditation cannot be planned. It is basically internal experiences. So if anybody asks you, how feel this sugar, how feel this salt, you can tell that it is sweet and it is this is salty. But what is sweet? Can you explain? Can you write? No, you cannot write. Then what will you tell? You will tell that you also test this, and then you will know what is sweet test. You can also test this salt, then you can know what is salty test. You will tell them. So this is the thing, that is the dhyana. You cannot tell anybody how it is dhyana, because if you do it, preach it, then only you can know what is dhyana. And at that moment, you will not in such a stage that you will have no any feeling of even knowing that you are in a dhyana stage. No. The another body will tell you that so much time has already driven during your absence from the world. So that fellow will tell you, that you will be in a dhyana stage, like that. So this is the meditation of. What does meditation means? You cut everything from your outside world. You cut. There is no outside for you. You just remain to you, because your only self remain with you. There is nothing outside for you. Every outside thing has become dead for you. That is the ultimate dhyana meditation avastha. And if you continue doing dhyana, then comes a stage that is the main purpose of yoga philosophy. That is the ultimate goal of yoga philosophy. That is the samadhi stage. Oneness with all the living things, all the living creatures become oneness. That is the aham brahmasmi stage. I become the Brahma. My unconsciousness meets with the whole collective unconsciousness, and this is the basically yoga, and this is the moksha avastha of the yoga. So you have seen, this is the 8th stage of the yoga, and you should do the like as a step like manner, and you should know the step also. First one is yama, external discipline. Second one is niyama, internal discipline. Third one is asana, that is the posture, meditation sitting. And fourth one is pranayama, that is the full inspiration, maintaining full inspiration and expiration, that is purak, kumbhak and rechak. Thereafter is pratyahara, turning all your senses inside. Thereafter this dharana, concentration, and this is the 6th one. And thereafter 7th one is dhyana, that is the meditation, and 8th one is samadhi. So this is the 8th way how you can achieve the yoga, and how you can achieve the oneness with the this whole super consciousness. How you can become oneness, because nowadays at a particular moment of time, if you are not yogi, then you have cutted yourself from the rest of the world by the virtue of your all arrogance, and by the virtue of your I-ness. This I-ness is a illness. This I for illness. I say that this is my, this is I am plana. This is not you. That if anybody sees that, it says that if anybody asks you that the cloth you are wearing is you, you will say him or her that no, I am not a cloth. I am wearing it, but I am not a cloth. I am wearing this body, but I am not this body. But this is not only for preaching, this is for experiencing it and behaving after that accordingly. That is the ultimate aim of anybody. And even the Buddhist philosophy, they have told that the Lord Buddha always remains in this world, doesn't go to outside world, to the Swarga. It is only in this side world only, and for the taking care of everybody, because the ultimate goal of the Lord Buddha is to make everybody Buddha, so that everybody can acquire the ultimate attainment, full attainment. That is the known as the moksha avastha. So this is and kavalya avastha of this jhana philosophy. And now something about the hatha yoga. Hatha yoga, there are different satkarmas also being practiced that we are normally seeing in the televisions. Like one is kapal bhati, that is the breathing rapidly and intensely, taking this deep this is kapala bhati. And also somebody do that, take some fluid and water from this nose and remove from this. This is the kapala bhati, taking fluid from this, and this is sucking water from this nostril and returning, letting it out from this nostril. This is the ultimate Kapalabhati. And another one is Tratak. What is Tratak? Tratak is gazing at a point until your eye start watering. So if I am seeing this point, I am started seeing without letting our this eyelid to close. I will not allow my eyelid to close. I will continuously see to a point. Then comes our tear will be produced, and it will make a tear film around our cornea and our sclera of the eye. So what will happen? So this is known as the Tratak. So you should practice it. So this is the Trataka stage, and this is the one of the thing that you can acquire enough power in your eyes, that if you continuously see, if anybody who has practicing Tratak, if he can acquire enough power, so that if you ask, any yogi will ask to anybody that see in our eyes, he will ask, see in our eyes. So those have got Tratak, doing Tratak, what will happen? Another body become hypnotized with that. That is Sammohan Vidya. And after that body gets hypnotized to you, what will happen? You have captured, you have this surrendered his conscious mind. So what will happen? Whatever you tell him, he will do. So you have acquired mastery over that person also. This is known as Tratak. This is one of the part of the Satakarma practiced by Hatha Yogi. So Satakarma, first one is Kapalabhati, another one is Tratak, and third one is Neti. Neti is running wild thread in the nostril and coming through mouth. So you put some wild thread over from this nose, and after that you remove from mouth. So this is the practice of Neti, that is known as Neti. And another one is Nali, and Nali is basically rotating your belly. Your belly is rotating. So you have seen some of the Babas doing movement of your abdomen, and your abdomen is moves like that, and you have full control in a rotatory movement like that. So if you move your movement whole, that is known as a Nali. That is known as Nali. Rotating belly movement, that is known as Nali. So Kapalabhati, Tratak, Neti, and Nali, and Dhauti. What is Dhauti? Dhauti is extreme Hatha Dharma, one of the Satakarma. It is the swallowing long cloth. If you take some cloth and you put from cloth from mouth and take out from anus, and you have got enough power of, actually abdominal muscle is basically involuntary, but you acquire power for that also. So what will happen? You just put here and go through your intestine and colon and remove from the anus. So that is known as Dhauti. So it is practiced by some of the Hatha Yogi in the years. Nowadays there are many people who are claiming, but you can know that many from the internet also, who is Dhauti Yogi. And another one is this Basti. And what is Basti? But Basti is anal sucking. You are drinking from your mouth, but you can suck any fluid from your anus also. So that is the sucking from the anus also. You just squat in a water pan, and you put some pipe in your anus and suck you from your anus the water in of the pan. So this is known as Basti. So these are the basic Satakarma practiced by Hatha Yogi, and because basically these Hatha Yoga are to getting control over the involuntary muscles of our body. And another one is Chakri, that is the anal dilatation with finger. You start your finger of yourself, you put in anus, and you can rotate and feel the rectum itself, that is known as Chakri. And another is Gajkarni. Gajkarni means you all together water and air you can put all together in the esophagus, and you can keep for a moment, and you can take out water and air as per your command. So this is the Gajakarni. So this is the thing, that is the Gajakarni, means as practiced by the elephant. So this is the Gaja, elephant. So this is the thing, that the whole yoga philosophy that I have dealt. So if you are practice it, definitely no disease will happen. Why? Because you will know that by doing yamas and aparigraha, if you have accumulated excess calorie, then first you remove excess calorie. So if you remove the excess calorie gets deposited in the body in the form of excess fat, making you obese. It can deposit in the form of this cytokines, and this, you can say, that acid like thing that can this damage your different organ, causing inflammation in different organs, and the excess sugar or excess calorie can attract infection inside your body. So if you practice aparigraha, that is the non-attachment and non-storage, that is taking as much calorie as your body needed. So definitely, how can your body get disease? There is no scope of disease. And if you practice moderation, brahmacharya, do not do ati. Ati in the sense doesn't do overeating, over pleasure. Don't. You are doing even sex also, but with your own wife, with your own limited period of time, like that. So it is not overindulgence, but also it should not be underindulgence also. You should behave in a moderation. That is the brahmacharya. So doing in moderation, that is the. So if you practice it madhyam marg, then definitely you will not get any types of disease, and whatever disease that you have having, every disease will be finished from your body. And that is the, and if you maintain the niyama, that is the internal discipline, if you maintain cleanliness, all the hygienic, infection portion will be gone. And if you become santosa, that is, then your all the mental tension will be gone. Whatever you have, whatever have happened to you, consider it is for your goodness, your well-being. If you consider like that, jo hota jo अच्छे के लिए होता, everything happens for a good. So if you consider, if you behaving like that, then definitely all your sorrows, all your suffering will be gone. So this is the thing. And if you have tapa, if you start your day like this is your last day, then you have zeal for your life. Suppose this is my last day, then I will what I will do? I will try to do as much thing as I can in a single day. So this is the zeal for the life, tapa. And जीवन एक तप है, life is a tapa, zeal for life. And self-study, always make a self-study. Don't do memorize things and information. Don't consider that you have memorized something, it means you have become a jnani. No. It is knowing some different information is not a jnana. Jnana is something else. Jnana is knowledge is you have known that nobody is dying and nobody is taking birth. Nobody is just the morphology changes, nothing more than that. Mankind have achieved many things. He has enlarged their life expectancy. In yesterday years, our forefather used to live for only 30, 40, 50 years. But nowadays, life expectancy at birth is 72 years in the whole world average. So mankind has started more years living in this planet. So please doesn't consider it your achievement, and please doesn't make yourself over this egoistic considering this. No. You have increased your population and you have increased your longevity on the price of something that our biological diversity have suffered. So on the price of our biodiversity, we have achieved our longevity. It means that we have killed many of the different organisms from this earth, and acquired their energy in ourselves. So we should have continuously full devotion towards them. So this is the purpose, and if you really feel it, then you will not even you enjoy your this dying, then you can celebrate your dying. So that is the thing, that जब मरना उत्सव हो जाए, then that is the thing that you have really understand what is life is and what you are. So really you have really understood it when anybody can know that when you celebrate your death also. So that is the thing. So and everything you do in the name of God. So always surrender to God, whether you have taken Nobel Prize and whether you have taken where you have suffered gross disrespect in the society, whatever good or bad, extreme good or extreme bad has you have suffered, always do not take load to yourself. Always give credit or discredit to the God. You are not come in between what is happening and what you are doing. Please do not come in between God and the work. You are just a mediator, not more than that. You doesn't have enough power to do anything without this God's desire. So always consider this. So if you do like that, there is no scope of you have that you can become suffered in this world. So this is the ultimate science and ultimate religion that you can think and know. That please doesn't see science and religion in a two or different category. No. It is the same thing. Because science is the outside travel and religion is the inside travel. When you delve inside you, that is the journey of the zero. Science, dharma is journey of the zero, and science is journey of the infinity. And you shouldn't wonder that zero and infinity mixes with each other. Zero and infinity is the same, and it is the same India that has discovered zero as well as infinity. Both zero and infinity is discovered in this country. So this is really makes India is a world teacher. So this is not that why you should know that why India has been called world guru, Vishwa Guru. So you should now you have learned a lot. And if you consider this video useful, then you can this like or share it, so that it can be useful for anybody else in this whole mankind. And if you want to take my suggestions for any disease, if you have got any chronic disease, I can treat you. Not I, God can treat you. By yoga is the basically gift of the God, and God is the same. You can say it Jesus, you can name it Allah Ta'ala, you can name it Sankara, you can name it Rama, you can name it Krishna. Every God is same. Every God is same. This is the oneness. This is the beauty of the mankind. We all are the same. So if you have got any types of chronic ailments, you can ask me. I will do my little best to give you relief, whatever little knowledge that I have acquired after seeing not less than 1 lakh of patients. I will try my best to help you. My phone number is 89699 53194. Another number is 9386999300. My leisure time to receive phone call is between 7 to 8 a.m. in the morning, and around 6 p.m. in the evening, and around 9 p.m. in the night. So these are my time, which at which time you can definitely call me. I will be more than happy to receive your call. And I used to treat not I God used to treat many of the diseases through me, and that are the like blood pressure, all types of metabolic syndrome, all types of inflammatory syndromes, all types of autoimmune disorders. You can take my help. And I used to say that please doesn't take high carbohydrate diet. चीनी, चावल, आलू, खस्सी का मांस, मीठा फल, दूध, मैदा, चिप्स, चॉकलेट, आइसक्रीम, कोल्ड ड्रिंक, मिठाई, समोसा, पिज्जा, बर्गर. You should avoid high carbohydrate, high refined carbohydrate, high fat diet. You should avoid. But you should take high fiber and high protein diet. That is the sprout, that is the pulses, that is the germinated seed of these pulses, that is known as sprout. You can take this ripe cucumber and ripe this cucumber and this tomato in ample amount. You should take as much less refined food as much possible, as much natural food as much possible. Please avoid those food that is cultivated inside the soil, that is potato and aloo and like that, onion. Please avoid this as much as you can. Beet and this carrot, you should avoid it. And take plenty amount of green vegetables, and you should take less amount of sweet fruits, and you should take less sweety fruits like tomato and cucumber, like that. So, and you should calculate your daily calories and take as much calorie as your body needs. And please do not take more than 30% of carbohydrate in your daily diet. Only 30% carbohydrate, 30% fiber, and around 20-30% protein, and rest amount of fat and like that you should take. So you should take one bowl of dal in the morning, evening, night, and or one plate of sprout morning, evening, night. And you should take you can take, if you're not taking bread, then you can take one or two fruits morning, evening, night. You can take egg, boiled egg, one or two daily, or you can take chicken pieces, fried chicken, and one or two daily, one or two pieces daily, and you bake for at least 2 hours daily. At least spread sunlight to your this skin, so that vitamin D can be made inside your body. And also take at least rest for 6 hours a day in the night, sound sleep for 6 hours. And please do not live in future, live always in this present tense. Always live in present tense, because only present is in your control, future and past is not in your control. So if you do this thing, definitely every disease will be gone. You should know that without changing your diet and exercise, not a single disease can be cured by the drug. But if you change your diet and exercise, each and every disease can be cured. But the WHO has only preach and tell us, give guidelines for doing only 150 minutes of exercise in a week. But I tell you that not less than 120 minutes daily you should do your exercise. In this 120 minutes, at least 90 minutes should be aerobic exercise, and rest 30 minutes you should do anaerobic exercise, that is the fast walking and this running. So if you practice it, definitely you will attain long life. And even if you know all the things, you will become God, and you will become close to God, like that. And it has been preached that there is a phenomenon of Trinity, that is Son, Father, and the Spirit, and these three is the same. The same Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is the same, that you will acquire knowledge after practicing yoga. So I think I must have been able to tell you what I have learned after seeing and so many patients and learning and hearing different yoga. because dharma and vijnana is the same thing. Science and religion is the same thing, as Einstein has told. Famous scientist Einstein has told that science without religion is a blind, and religion without science is a dumb. So this is a thing that you should know, always know. So I think I must have been able to give you something which I have known. So if is that, then I think that I have done some good things, then it will be give pleasure to me. And I must thank you that you have given me patient hearing of so much time. So I must thank the God inside you, so that you can you have given me enough courage to have helped you. Thank you. Keep watching my video and subscribe my channel, Dr. Kranti Chandan Jaikar and Kranti Jaikar. Thank you again.